LSD. How can, now that those big fat letters are babbling out on coated stock from every newsstand, but this was late 1959, early 1960, a full 2 years before Mom and Dad and Buddy and Sis heard of the dread letters and clucked because Doctors Timothy Leary and Richard Alpert were French frying the brains of Harvard boys with it. It was even before Dr. Humphrey Osmond had invented the term psychodelic, which was later amended to psychedelic to get rid of the nuthouse connotation of psycho. LSD. It was quite a little secret to have stumbled onto, a hulking super secret, in fact, the triumph of the guinea pigs. In a short time, he and Lovell had tried the whole range of the drugs: LSD, psilocybin, mescaline, peyote, IT-290, the superamphetamine, Ditran, the bummer, morning glory seeds. They were on to a discovery that the Menlo Park clinicians themselves never, mighty fine irony here, the white smocks were supposedly using them. Instead, the white smocks had handed them the very key itself. And you don't even know, bub. With these drugs, your perception is altered enough that you find yourself looking out of completely strange eye holes. All of us have a great deal of our minds locked shut. We're shut off from our own world. And these drugs seem to be the key to open these locked doors. How many, maybe 24 people in the world were onto this incredible secret? One was Aldous Huxley, who had taken mescaline and written about it in The Doors of Perception. He compared the brain to a reducing valve. In ordinary perception, the senses send an overwhelming flood of information to the brain, which the brain then filters down to a trickle it can manage for the purpose of survival in a highly competitive world. Man has become so rational, so utilitarian, that the trickle becomes most pale and thin. It is efficient for mere survival, but it screens out the most wondrous parts of man's potential experience without his even knowing it. We're shut off from our own world. Primitive man once experienced the rich and sparkling flood of the senses fully. Children experience it for a few months until normal training, conditioning, close the doors on this other world, usually for good. Somehow, Huxley had said, the drugs opened these ancient doors, and through them modern man may at last go and rediscover his divine birthright. But these are words, man. You couldn't put it into words. The white smocks like to put it into words like hallucination and dissociative phenomena. They could understand the visual skyrockets. Give them a good case of an ashtray turning into a Venus flytrap or eyelid movies of crystal cathedrals, and they could groove on that. That was swell. But don't you see? The visual stuff was just the decor with LSD. In fact, you might go through the whole experience without any true hallucination. The whole thing was the experience, this certain indescribable feeling. Indescribable because words can only jog the memory, and if there is no memory of the experience, of the barrier between the subjective and the objective, the personal and the impersonal, the I and the not I disappearing, that feeling. Or can you remember when you were a child watching someone put a pencil to a sheet of paper for the first time to draw a picture, and the line begins to grow into a nose, and it's not just a pattern of graphite line on a sheet of paper, but the very miracle of creation itself, and your own dreams flowed into that magical growing line, and it was not a picture, but a miracle, an experience. And now that you're soaring on LSD, that feeling is coming on again, only now the creation is of the entire universe.